there are any, and I call them out and ask them how many degrees they have, and there's a minimum of 2, right? Because as an Asian, you're only allowed to be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, IT, there's only limited STEM jobs, that's all we were allowed to do. But I kind of broke the trend on that, and getting to be where I am now was quite a struggle for me. So how I like to say it, how did you start your photography journey? How did you become a professional photographer? How did you get to, so now I just generally, every other week I'm asked to speak all over the country, right? And so I say I started because I was at rock bottom. I just couldn't find myself because my culture was kind of like, you should be this, you should do that, but I was an artist. And my whole life, I was trying to figure out where I was fitting in. I say I'm a college dropout, but I went to 7 years of college. I started out at UC Berkeley as a math major and a physics major, then I transferred and became a music major, which was closer to what I actually wanted to be. And through that whole process, I just could never figure out exactly where I was. And then I got married, who's my angel, and I started my own graphic design business, and we did textile printing, like screen printing and things like that. And I started that business, and for years and years, in fact, my employees made more money than me, and I struggled so much just to try to make it. And for about a decade, living in Los Angeles, this was around, before 2000, so it's quite a while ago. I could only bring home no more than $10,000 a year. And my wife and I wanted to start a family, and we owned a little home in Los Angeles, and my wife was providing and supporting us all this time when I was trying to find myself. And I fell into a deep depression because I just couldn't even, I felt, like sometimes as a man you feel like you're supposed to be the provider of your family, and we feel really great doing that, and I just couldn't put it together and do that. And I felt completely lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm not making any money. My marriage was falling apart. Everything in my life I felt like was falling apart, and I wish that I could walk out the door, the car would run me over, and my wife would leave me. That's where I was. And when you get to that point, if you ever do, you have to realize something must change in your life. You just can't go through doing the same things over and over and over again, right? So I realized something had to change. And my wife and I, and on top of that, okay, so here's what was really happening. I was at rock bottom, and my wife is at rock bottom. You know why? What put her into rock bottom? I'll share some personal stuff with you. Is that biologically we couldn't have any children. She working hard, doing something that she didn't want to do, providing for our family, but also my sisters are pumping out kids left and right. Her sister and brother are pumping out kids. All her friends are pumping out kids. We'd been married for like 12 years, right? And that's the only thing that she wanted in life, was to have a family and manage a family. And I remember, there's just some nights we had no answers. We would just be crying. And we were just so lost, and we just felt like, man, God's doing this cruel trick on us, and something so basic in life we can't have. And so it got to the point where I go, something's really got to change here, or else, I'm not going to have a marriage. This is not going to be it. So I said, listen, for 12 years, honey, you've been supporting our family. You've been the financial breadwinner. And you wanted to start a family, and we always wanted to adopt a kid. So we're gonna do that anyways, and we're gonna adopt internationally, which is actually very expensive at that time. And so we're gonna, you know what, you're gonna quit your high-paying job, and like I said, honey, now this is in 2000, okay, so how much do we need just to get by, paying our mortgage payment, and she said, oh, I think about $30,000 to $40,000 a year we could just barely scrape by. I go, okay, great, thank you, I got a goal. I don't care if I have to work at Starbucks for the health insurance, I have to work at Home Depot for the late shift. If I have to put 3 jobs together and make 40 grand a year, I'm gonna do it. Because honey, all these years you've been sacrificing. You're gonna quit your job, we're gonna take all the money that we have and adopt our child from China, and we're gonna start, I don't recommend people doing this, but for us, for some reason it felt illogical, but once we decided to do that, I just felt this overwhelming peace come over me, saying, Scott, I know it doesn't sound logical, but this is exactly the way I want you to go. And so we started the adoption process, which takes a little over a year. And then, we adopted our child from China, and that was great. She quit her job, and I'm only making $10,000 a year. Okay, I got a new family. I got a mortgage payment in California. Like, what am I the heck gonna do? And so I had my business that was not making any money at all. What could I do on the weekends to make money if you liked photography? Mm-hmm. You could be a wedding photographer, right? And so I had 1 year to prepare because I knew my wife was gonna quit in a year. And that's when digital just started coming out. So, some of you old timers, do you know what a Nikon Coolpix camera is? 3 megapixel. I forgot the number of it. Was it an 800? It was this big. I spent $550 for it. It was 2 megapixels, and it came with a whopping 32 megabyte card. Megabyte, okay? That's probably like one photo that we have now, okay? And so I got that, and because at those days, in order for you to learn photography, you'd have to shoot film, right? And that was very expensive to learn because you'd have to develop it, you'd have to remember your exposures and your shutters and all that. But oh my gosh, digital's out. I can learn on this. So and there's no YouTube you can't learn from anything, and there's no YouTube back then. So this keeps clicking.